Then breaking the game for the makers, the dreamers. Remember the name, crew and tribe. We're riding this wave for every creator who dared to be brave. He's the man with the vision, designs that inspire, fueling the scene with relentless fire. From the crew to the tribe, he's breaking the mold, building a legacy that's fierce and bold. Promoting the makers, he's lifting them higher. Every model a spark, every prince desire. He's got the skills, the hustle, the drive. Free Heathen Workshop, keeping dreams alive. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. This life's a grind, but there's no regret. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter, never forget. Oh, free, they're leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive. Breaking the rules, yeah, he's setting the tone. For every designer making magic their own. Blueprints and dreams, they're the tools of the trade. With Free Heathen Workshop, the future's made. His models are art, his passion's the key. He's building a world for the community. Through struggles and triumphs, he's always on deck. With the mantra he lives by, protect your neck. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. This life's a grind, but there's no regret. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter, never forget. Oh, free, then leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive. It's more than print, it's a way to rise through the sweat and tears under burning skies. He's here for the makers, for the love he gives. With every design, he shows how to live. All free, then leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive. So keep your chin up, protect your neck.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the Free Heathen Workshop. My name, of course, is Maker Millwright. Welcome on in. I hope you're all doing well. It is warm and tiring today here in lovely Vancouver, British Columbia. I hope you're all doing well. We have some design work today, but of course, we're happy to take some comments and concerns at the beginning of the show. No, sir, your mama is a snowblower. My mama's a rototiller. So welcome in, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Now that we've got that out of the way, if you don't understand what that is, you need to come join us on our Twitch live streams Friday through Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Free Heathen Workshop. So yeah, so we got some design work today. We're gonna be working on the Battle Tug boat again. There's a few things. We're very close to finishing. Look like I'm so. It is warm in here. It is 30 degrees. Yeah, and we haven't turned the machine on yet, so it is a little bit on the warm side. All right. So what do we got here? So looking here. I just want to, of course, invite you all to come join me over on Maker World. Oops, wrong button. Come join and check out my work over on Maker World. The links are down below if you want them. I do make a lot of designs and things of that nature. We're also over here on Thangs if you want to check out my large collection of miniatures and other models. We are actually going through the back catalog and printing them. But always remember, if you print a model from any website, please post a picture of it. There are reward systems in place to benefit you for that. And then, of course, we have Tinker Atlas, which is something we should go through. But let's take a look at the Battle Tugboat, because I think I need to explain some stuff. Oh, that's a different one we have to do. Forgot about that one. There we go. So let me just get this to load up nicely. Well, hello, Jayden. Awfully nice of you to join us. So, I don't like... I'm not sure how I can do this. I guess I'll have to copy this. So I don't like the way the tower has turned out. We do have to reprint the hull. I don't know if we have enough material to reprint the hull, but we need to reprint the hull because the sample I did not have the port for the propeller. The show can now, yeah, absolutely. Welcome in, everybody. I'm happy to have you here. So this is our safety. We don't mess with that one, but we take this one apart. Okay, so this pipe was no good. I don't like the way how it turned out up here. So we have to start working backwards on some of this. So I think what we're going to do is just like, we're going to copy this and we're going to modify it. And then we'll bring it back. So we've got some problems here. So our problems start right here with this. That pipe is just too small. Didn't print well on the sample that's there. And then the main pipe itself wasn't very good. So we're just going to enlarge a bunch of things. I didn't like them the way they were, so we're just going to do it how we want. Yeah, it definitely needs to be bigger, yeah. And then we'll just figure it out. Um, Pretty straightforward stuff. It is quite a bit of design time. It's always the little stuff that ends up being a problem. But, so what diameter is this? So 2.8, eh? Like, that is a fair size. Like, is that what this is? Because when I look at it on the model, it's not very big. I'm going to expand it, actually. We're just going to end up with a lot of work on this. All the tooling has been improved again lately on Tinkercad, if you guys hadn't noticed. Just a bunch of the tooling has just become really interesting. Pretty close there. What diameter is this? Okay, so 2.4, and this is what, 2.8? Well, it is Work Wednesday, exactly. So, like, I don't like how big this is. So, I think we're going to mess with this a little bit. Not really sure how I'm going to do it, but we'll figure it out. Because when I did it on the model, I was like, oh, this doesn't look very good. So, I'm sort of trying to decide what I want to do. Not really sure what I'm doing here. I just think this needs to be bigger. I don't know. Let me look at it. Yeah, it's just kind of like too insignificant. That's the problem. So what I'm working on is I don't like the size of this, and I don't like the size of this. So we're going to just make it bigger, I think. Like, I don't know. I'm going to say that's like 5 mil. Maybe our pipe will be 5 mil? Can we even do that? I don't know. Because this is like a really weird design. Everything fits nice. A little bit of elephant footing lately, but like if I make this 5 mil or 5.25, and that's my pipe. Yeah, so that's like the outside of the fitting. Yeah, I think that's better. So that's that'll end up being my solid. Okay. Well, that's fine. And we'll just cheat, right? We'll just have to figure it all out. But what we'll do is we'll reuse this design at the bottom as well. We'll figure it out. So this and this are... Why is this not... So that says it's center on center. That is definitely not center on center. Let's do it like that. So a lot of the stuff I do is just sort of... Am I not hitting shift? I am hitting shift. A lot of the design work I do is just sort of like what a lot of people would kind of say like is vibe coding, where I just kind of make what I want, figure it out as I go. So why is this not 9.3 and then this is 9.3? Okay, that's fine. Whatever. Let's ungroup this. Let's center this on this. So there's something wrong with this design. Get rid of this. And then we'll just copy this. We'll extend it out. We'll bring it down as if it's a collar. Give it some space here. And then this, this, and this all align center. Like so. And then what we want to do, because we might have to modify some stuff here, because as that creates a shape in there, we might have to hollow this, which is fine. But I want to make this big enough that it comes out. There we go. So this should come back and fill that gap. And then what I want this, 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 all to align center. So this still needs to be bigger though. So can I come back on it? No. So I need to be bigger. Can I move this in? Okay, so that's all good. So that puts our hole in it, right? But actually we're going to change that, so watch. This is going to be bigger. So we're going to keep the same height, but we're going to make it bigger. So it's 7 right now. Let's make this 62. And then all of this. I know this looks really big, but it's not. We might alter it. It might be too big. I don't know. I don't think so. We'll leave it. Okay. So that's our new. And then we're going to copy this because we need some stuff off it. This is going to align to this. And now we have more lip. Because the problem is when this assembles, the lip is very fine. It's almost like a cap. And that's not... It made me nervous that it would break. So we're going to change that. It's not what we want, right? So, and then what we're going to do is we're going to actually take a part of this. Now, how are we going to do this in an appropriate, useful way? I have no idea, but we're going to try anyway. So we don't need this anymore, this anymore, this anymore, this anymore, this anymore, this anymore, this anymore. We need this. Let's not do that. So I don't know how we're going to remake that pipe, but as you can see, it's going to change a bunch of things. So that you can see this is the original concept, but I don't like it, so we're going to change it. Because we want to go there. So you can see, right? So we're definitely starting to mess with stuff that changes the shape of things. And considering that this model was made just for you YouTube people, this has not been shown on the Twitch, other than the finished example. This has not been shown on Twitch. So we're just trying to figure out our alignments here. And I'm okay with that. But this and this and this all need to align to this. But I kind of want to put 2 in. So this now joins, this needs to change colors, right? This will now align to the bottom of this. It is. And that now replaces the blue one. You say, why are we doing the mock-up on like an actual thing? It's because it's easier, right? Because we know this all fits, right? And it all fits in here. There's actually a void in there. Just got to make sure our voids are aligned. Just like that, right? Alright. It's a toit fit. For some reason. I don't know. It's okay, because I know it works. Okay, so now... So we know... This can be 5. I think it can be 5. We might have to double check it before we print. Boy, is it warm in here today. So then I want to magnet this. Yeah, so the 5 is good. So then this comes back. So we're going to keep this flange style, but this has to be parallel to this. So center to the back, and then center. Perfect. And we'll make this ring bigger. So what we're going to do here, ungroup this. Can we just get this? Ungroup this? Yes, we can. So we're going to get rid of the purple. Can we ungroup this? Yep. We're going to get rid of this. So this is now our new purple, right? So if we know that one's 5, then this is like, and originally it was 3, so it's an extra 4 mils or 2 mils. So let's go 9, and then these will group, and then that'll align to this. It's the end. Okay, so then what we need to do is take this and come right to about there. And then these two align to this. And hopefully this works. I haven't done this in a while, so. This doesn't look right, but. So yeah, it's right. Okay. Now this little ring can come in. And then of course, like we can change the diameters of this. So let's turn this to 6. And then turn this to 6. So we want to be center, align center, and then we want to be, we're good there. Okay, so that now assembles. So that should just plug into that. So now, here's where it gets a little sticky. See, because this is one piece, right? So now I have to figure out how to make this pipe 5 mil. So I need to go and look at the pipe generator. This is easy enough, because we just copy this. We don't need any of this stuff down here anymore, I don't think. So this now rotates. Yeah, so it's going to want to do that instead. But I want to mag this down. Yeah. And then I rotated that. And I can check the alignment of that in a second, but Because what I think I'm going to do is, I don't need that, I don't need this, I don't need this flange. Because what I'll do is I'll just copy this. Right, so we want to be flange to flange on that. Ish. I know it looks like there's a big gap, but there isn't. And then I think this has to come apart, but we'll figure that out. So I don't gotta figure this one out. So maybe I have to make a new one. Because if I make this what? Is that in diameter? It's probably in diameter, right? And it's gonna be like all wonky because I messed with the math ahead of time, right? Oh, okay, maybe it's 5. Can I get this just to do math for me or no? Yeah, we'll just do it. We'll scrap this one out and do a new one. See, that can't be right. I don't understand what it's saying because it says it's like a 20 mil, which probably actually. Um, Wrecking things, too many things at once. We'll get there. Like, do I have 2 boats here? I do have 2 boats here. Okay, so I don't need this. This is an extra. I don't know how I ended up with 2. Okay, so maybe it is correct. Maybe it is 5. And then the wall thickness is 99 because we want it solid, right? But that doesn't look right to me. Maybe it is. By the way, the alignment tool on this sucks. So let's do 5. Let's do 5. And then the bend angle. Oh, arc angle. 4, 5. 6, 7. That's too much. Let's go 20. I want a tighter arc, right? Can we go 10? So I need this to be, so I need another version of this. Okay, so we're pretty close there. I don't know. That looks pretty good. The other option, since we're playing with this, right? Is something like that, right? It's all aligned. So the other option would be to take this, copy it, invert it, and then take this, ungroup it. Something like that. So this. Well, actually, we should probably do it like this. Okay, so now I need feedback from you guys. Are you guys awake? I do like that. And then this actually gets replaced. Let me show you. There's actually a replacement. Because I don't know. Do I have a finished? Because I must have made this separate. I gotta change this one. These have to be changed because they don't print. I tried them with the little valve handles. They're sweet, right? Like, don't get me wrong, they're sweet. But they just don't print. They just can't. They're too small. So it's not like a material issue or a machine issue. It's just too delicate. The shanks ended up being like 1 mil or whatever. But that's more the real version. Because I put a bottom on it. Because then the reason why it's laid out the way it is so it can be modular. I don't know if you guys were catching on to that or not, but the idea was to make it as modular as physically possible. Like, is this... Can I make this hollow? Like, yeah, because I believe this comes up. It sits like that. Yeah, everything's... Okay, good. This can go back to being... It's like wood, but... So you can see, right? So we have to work on this. But what do you guys think of that new piping? Because this is... Let me show you the old one. So, where's the original? This is the original, right? Yeah. So do you guys want me to color it too? Because we gotta change the valve handles, but we'll change this to multicolor, yeah. So this is the new version. Why didn't it grab the props? Oh, it's being weird. So this is can I do side by side for you? Yeah, I can. So that's the new version. What do you guys think? So we took some of the portholes out. We made things a little bit bigger. We changed the propeller. We enclosed the propeller, which again, it still doesn't print great, but it is what it is, right? Nothing is like permanently attached to the deck. Everything splits out. I can do this, right? So that gives you the scale for the dudes. I still think it's too tall, but it's cool, right? Yeah, it will work. You can do it. But I think I like the bigger pipe and with the more attachments. I think that's better. It's still not gonna print perfect because it's not doesn't have a flat side, so it's gonna print vertically with supports. There's just the way it's gonna be. But this like single little one, I don't know. I like this bigger one. I think. So then we just have to work on these here, on these valves. And the only thing I can think of is make them bigger and put them down more. But they can't really be bigger, so maybe we put them on the side. So we're going to take a copy of this, right? Oops, undo. See, I didn't change. I was bad. I didn't change all the colors of these, so I knew they were separate. Because they were kind of like a last thought. Oh, I forgot that you can name everything, too. But I think these come bigger. I think they rotate 90. Well, I can make them a little smaller, but they can be like that. I can even make this block a little bigger. Because that block is what it aligns to the center of this. It was designed for that with the original purpose. Oh, there's two there. Why is there two? What did I do there? It's fine, whatever, we'll fix it. Well, we could have two. We could have a gap in the middle. Oh, yuck. Bad remix. Let's, I'm trying to find some music for myself. Sure. Alright, so, because these don't even have to be so big. Because this can split. Because they could actually be pulled apart too. I guess it doesn't really matter, right? So they are. So, because I could pull, well, can I do two of these valves? So, this is the new one. And it sits kind of like, let's take it apart. So this is our new model. Let's not mess with that. So this ring can actually be bigger. It's torus. So let's give it let's make it round. Let's make it stepped out. Can we turn the radius down a little bit? But can we bring it in? No, that looks dumb. But it can be a little bit bigger. And then this whole thing can come back. But then I want this whole thing to come down, I think. So it sits. So they all have to be centered anyway. That is not center on center, but okay. Tell me some more stories, Tinkercad. Like, me, can we center? Can we take this apart? We can definitely move this if we want to move everything around, but I don't think we want to. There. And then, does this need to be so severe? I don't think it does, right? So that, because it'll bridge that, no? It'll probably bridge that. I think it'll bridge that, and then it doesn't need to be so. Because what we're just gonna copy this. We're gonna copy. So watch, I'll show you. Although I do want this to have a bevel on it. Can I do anything with this? No. Okay, so that's all centered now. Because it wasn't before. So we'll group that. Then this will center to this, I think. So then this will pick up this knob. And then we'll copy it. And we'll align it to the back of this. And then we don't need any of this anymore. And then we just take this and we flip it. I don't know if we want that round. Maybe we'll go a little bit bigger on that. So then we assemble all of this. And we can double check this for where there's holes, so we can go hide some stuff in it, right? Hide some geometry. But we're going to take this and then just align it to the inside of this. And then all this other stuff just gets deleted out. And you'll see here why. So did I like that we had to put the valves on the side? Not really. But if you support the bottom of circles, which that is, it'll print okay. But circles don't like printing in the vertical. They only like printing in the horizontal. Then we just make sure everything is parallel. Everything is parallel. Group it. And then we just align to the center of this. Now we know this block. We know this block fits because I already did a sample of it, right? So. And then there's our new, like that's our heat exchangers, I guess you'd say. Which is not really how a heat exchanger works, but I'm not sure anyone cares. But then we just take this, and we make it a hole, and we can go in and see if something is missing. So that centerpiece is floating. This here is floating. So we're going to cheat that a little bit. And we're just going to take a little square. Doesn't have to be super big, but then we're going to magnet it right here. And you can't really see it, right? Oops. Let me just come down just a little bit. Just come back a little bit. And it doesn't have to be so thick. So we can take this back. How wide is that? 3 mil? I don't think you can see that. Yeah, I think that's fine. So then we just join it. We can also do this. Like we can also center align it if we want. So now it's center aligned. Doesn't make any difference. But you can't see that. You can't see that yellow in there. And then we just copy it. Match up to this one's face. No, that's not what we want. We want this, and then we want to... What am I doing again? Yeah. Let me get rid of the purple one. Then we flip the yellow one. And all this stuff is too small with a number 4 nozzle to put bolts on. So I guess it'll all have to look welded, which is fine. That's why we smooth things out, right? Let me just do the same thing again. We just make sure that everything is aligned. Now, I don't care about that sort of thing, but the community has over the years has been very stringent on the fact that they need things to be symmetrical. Now, I can still release this version because we can still do some stuff with it. But there's your valves in place, right? We tune them up a little bit, whatever, right? And then this can come out, and then I can just magnet it. There you go. See? So we don't need this tower anymore. This is the old one, right? Yeah. So we got to get rid of that one. And got to get rid of this one. So that's, and then we got to get rid of these pipes because we got to take all those pipes. And we got to run it. And then we just need to run the new set. And we need to run the new frame and everything, but I don't know if we have enough material from this company to do that. So that's the choice. Do we start the new body, which is not a change from the old body except that it has the room for the propellers now, right? Because I missed that in one of the development stages. Or do we run the new top fixtures? Because I think we're almost out of material from this supplier. Well, not really. Just colored material. Let's let's I guess we need the body because everything is not correct. So let's do that. So we're gonna rerun the body, I guess. Well, yeah, because we gotta do all the. Yeah, we'll rerun the body, I guess. So now we have to go and make sure we pull all the right files. All right, so we need this body for sure. Yeah. So I need this one to stay together because this is our original. But I don't think we need any of these other ones anymore. We gotta make sure that one, yeah, it has the hole. I have an idea. We're gonna run this on both machines. I'm gonna run the parts in gray, I think. So the new decking components will be gray, like the cabin, the roof, and the piping will all be gray, which we can fiddle with in the future. But I have enough, so I'm gonna run both machines, and then I just have to get the third machine up going. Can you see what I'm doing? No, you can't. So okay, we'll start out with the simple stuff, and then that should get us everything where we need to be. Why can't you see this? You see this now, yeah. So we're gonna add the new body, and we're gonna auto rotate range. Oh, it doesn't want to do it. Okay, so it actually is too big, but there's a trick. We just rotate it to a 45. Why the slicer didn't do that, I have no idea. And then we're gonna leave the layer height 2. We're just gonna use its standard build stuff. We're gonna embed, detect thin walls. Should we go grid infill? You guys love grid, right? Let's just use triangles. 2 walls should be enough. We're not going to mess with speed. We are going to use supports. We're actually going to use supports on the inside this time because I didn't like the way it overhung last time, which it should have been fine, but I don't know why it didn't. But let's do it. And then it's going to be, this will be 2, right? It's purple. Got to make sure I get the thick bridges in here. That looks pretty good. So we'll slice that. Oh, it's almost break time too. So this whole thing here is the group. This anymore. But I do need this. Might have to go through and just like relabel like in one big sweep, relabel everything. I'm not sure, but oh, this is like version 1.1. Like that looks like it's gonna work out better. Little Du Hast from Rammstein. So yeah, so we're just building in Tinkercad, right? That's funny because those parts are identical. That's awesome. I don't actually need part D, but whatever. Okay, so that's cabin and the and then heat exchanger. All right, so that's good. So then we're gonna run this. So we'll run this on the bamboo. Then we're gonna run the other stuff on Snapmaker. Yeah. What if I turn off supports on the inside? Yeah, it saves me like 2 hours, so I'm gonna do that. Oh, it doesn't like this USB key. I got one of these. One of my hubs doesn't work very well. Is this gonna export or no? Thank you. Probably should have renamed that. Try it. See what happens. Okay, so now we gotta prep the other machine. Hmm. That filament was a little bit wet. Alright, get that going. Waiting on the Snapmaker to boot so I can pull the key. We're switching filament. Changing gears from, what was this? This one here. This is sample material. You can see I've been leaving it out. This is sample material from Sunlu, and I wanted to see how good their PLA was it PLA 2 plus was treat if I treated it poorly, how bad would it print? Other than some stringing, which nobody cares about, and if you do care about, well, that's a you problem. Came out great, so we'll have to pull that apart too. But that's one of the beholders I did, and then I just have to switch material on that machine. It's just gonna home a line, and then once we get this stuff all going, I'll take my break. So this one's already starting. We did do a sword with some Polymaker cause PLA the other day, but the sword was too small. It has to be much, much bigger. I didn't realize how small it was when I printed it. Because we were doing some tooling in the slicer for fun. Alright, so we're going to filament, we're going to park head. What I'm going to do is actually load that other Bowden tube into the head after I pull this material out, so it stops grinding down the housing. So it'll take a few minutes. So you guys got me still for a few minutes before I go do anything. But we've got 2 hours here on YouTube. As I'll show you what this is what we're working on. But I didn't like the way it looked. So we're working on it. You can see here it missed where the prop goes. When I was doing the prep, I forgot to do that. But you can see right here, like the little handles broke off. So we're changing that. We changed the exhaust or the pipe that goes here was just too small. It just didn't look good. So we're changing that out. And then just so I don't know if you guys remember or not, but this is actually a multi-layer kit. So there's actually inside there's a second floor, so you can actually do the interior if you want. And this one wasn't sponsored by 3D Max Filaments, but they sent us some material, and I said, oh, well, I'm going to do a project just with that then. And they were like, cool. So we've ended up doing like miniatures and stuff. Um, here's some of the miniatures. They came out good. I generally, like I say though, I don't like to print miniatures in silk because. Oh, well, that's the first drop test I ever did on these, and they came out good. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but it just popped off the feet. So our drop test is we throw it on the floor. We throw it on the floor. So good job, 3D Max Filaments. Yeah, good job. So, I don't know. Same old as same old. So we're going to unload this side. We did manage to cut and clear that Bowden tube last time, which is pretty cool. So we're just waiting for it to back out. But I was saying this on the Twitch show. You know, in general, most filaments these days are really good. Like, it's not like the old days where you get something that was bad right out of the bag, you know? Nowadays, it's just like, like, even like, I was really unfair to this Sunlu stuff, right? So this is the Sunlu, what is this? Like, I was really unfair to them because I left this out during like one of the most humid periods lately, and it's fine. It might be a little stringy, but that's normal. That's like to be expected, you know? So I don't know. It's the quality of filament and the manufacturers these days are insane. And then one of the coolest things about this Sunlu one, right, is that they're split reels. So like they come by default split reels. So you can just split them open, put new material in them, which is like really good. I don't like that personally. I like it when they're like solid reels, they don't come apart. But like that's really good. All of them are like that now. They're all reusable. So that's pretty cool if you ask me. And I think like just the quality of manufacturing in the 3D print world has changed so much these days. So, and it's just one of those things where it's like as long as you sort of take care, like the only problems I had was with that PLA was the stringing, and that stringing is because it has sat out in the weather. Like there's no, like I want to say there's some secret to it, but there isn't any secret to it. It's the fact that I just let it sit out in really humid summer weather, and yet there's no flaws, no visible flaws. We'll take that model apart, but there's no visible flaws. And like the 3D Max, you'll see it here because it's running right now too, right? You'll see that as we compare filaments, right, and we treat them unfairly because that's not really, you're supposed to, keep them dry, keep them out of the sun, you know. But we don't do that around here. We just do whatever we want. And I know a lot of the companies don't like being directly compared to other companies, but oh well. Oh well. You know what I mean? That's our purge. Okay, so we gotta do our compile over here. We're gonna compile not in Bamboo, but in Orca. Yeah, good job, 3D Max. Good job. And I make miniatures because miniatures are one of the hardest things to process on a FDM machine. Mine are like 32 mil scale. Thank you for all the likes. Remember, like, share, all that silliness, you know. Remember, go download the work, I guess. So yeah, you can see here we got this on here. So I did pull all this stuff, so I'm just waiting for Orca. So now we're gonna go in Orca and do new project. No, yes, we're gonna transfer the math and just use the math that was there. So let me show you Orca. There's Orca, right? You can see I've got a bunch of the math on the side here. It's nothing to worry about. And then we're just gonna open up all of the components. And we're just doing everything but the boat. No. And then arrange them. And then of course support's on. Everything it needs, right? If it needs it. Right? But it looks good. Then we slice. We could go to a finer layer height if we hadn't used the towers, because we could make everything else smaller with like a 1.2 or even a 0.8. But it looks okay. It looks okay to me. So then we're going to export G-code to the USB. Yeah, that new USB hub I got when I was down in the States, so good. The donation, thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. That worked out really good. So now we're nice and hot over here on the big machine. The little machine, or the medium machine, I guess you could say, is running. So now we're just going to go back to main controls. We're going to go start, USB, Prospectors Union flying boat, and then we're going to give it a go. I know I really should stop calling it the flying boat though, because I've made no attempt to make it fly. So now we're just going to run. Remember, you always have to click that last button for print cycle on the Snapmaker. Snapmaker 2. So now it's my break time, everybody. I'm going to take a few minutes for myself. Did I freeze the camera? I did. Let me see just if I could fix that face camera. There we go. Perfect. All right, guys. I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm just going to stretch, walk around, do my thing. And then, yeah, we'll be running cycle. So you'll be able to see what I'm working on over there with the boat. And we'll go from there.
It's free heat and breaking the game. For the makers, the dreamers, remember the name. Crew and tribe, we're riding this wave. For every creator who dared to be brave. He's the man with the vision, designs that inspire, fueling the scene with relentless fire. From the crew to the tribe, he's breaking the mold, building a legacy that's fierce and bold. Promoting the makers, he's lifting them higher. Every model a spark, every print's desire. He's got the skills, the hustle, the drive. Free Heathen Workshop, keeping dreams alive. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. This life's a grind, but there's no regret. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter, never he's setting the tone for every designer making magic their own. Blueprints and dreams, they're the tools of the trade. With free heathen workshop, the future's made. His models are art, his passion's the key. He's building a world for the community. Through struggles and triumphs, he's always on deck. With the mantra he lives by, protect your neck. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. This life's a grind, but there's no regret. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter, never forget. Oh, free and leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive. It's more than print, it's a way to rise through the sweat and tears under burning skies. He's here for the makers, for the love he gives. With every design, he shows how to live. Free and leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter. Hear the call with free heathen. There's room for us Yo, it's free heathen breaking the game. For the makers, the dreamers, remember the name. Crew and tribe, we're riding this wave. For every creator who dared to be brave. He's the man with the vision, designs that inspire. Fueling the scene with relentless fire. From the crew to the tribe, he's breaking the mold. Building a legacy that's fierce and bold. Promoting the makers, he's lifting them higher. Every model a spark, every prince desire. He's got the skills, the hustle, the drive. Free heathen workshop, keeping dreams alive. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. This life's a grind, but there's no regret. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter, never forget. Oh, free, leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive. Breaking the rules, yeah, he's setting the tone. For every designer making magic their own. Blueprints and dreams, they're the tools of the trade. With free heathen workshop, the future's made. His models are art, his passion's the key. He's building a world for the community. Through struggles and triumphs, he's always on deck. With the mantra he lives by, protect your neck. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. This life's a grind, but there's no regret. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter, never forget. Oh, free and leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive. It's more than print, it's a way to rise through the sweat and tears under burning skies. He's here for the makers.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the Free Heathen Workshop. My name, of course, is Maker Millwright. Welcome into my laboratory. We're just doing some Tinkercad. We're working on a project we've been working on for weeks. Not that it's a lot of work, it's just, yeah. So we're working on a armored tugboat, I guess you could call it. We're just trying to get everything to look right, fit right, and go from there, right? So one of the things that we wanted to do was, I guess let me go look at it. So now I think we're done with this project. I think once this resolves out, which will give us, it's got some production time on it, right? So be ready for next week. I'll make sure everything's good for next week. Um, and then what we can do is we can move on to something else because I actually have a new design uh, that we're gonna work on. It's gonna be a drilling machine, so it'll be a similar faction, and we'll go from there. Um, I did these little rivets. I might do one without them. They're just not that. They just don't show up. They're just too small. So, but I think this boat and this guy fit together well. So, but this is our complete. Just turn it gray for you guys. And I think it looks good. And that'll resolve everything out unless there's some issues with the props, which I don't think there's going to be. It's just they're pocketed, right? So, um, and then we'll have to move on to something new. Um, got a shout out to 3D Max Filament for giving me so much sample. He sent me 3 reels, and we've just been sampling with them forever, last month or so, which is really great. We have run some other projects with other companies, of course. Shout out to Sun Lu, of course. Thank you for everything you do. And then always like an amazing thank you to Polymaker for everything they do. We've run some projects that you guys don't know about here on YouTube, but we did a giant planter over on Twitch. We did the giant jack, which is up behind me. Um, we did some toolboxes. You know, we work on lots of stuff, lots of manufacturers here. We try not to blend them, like get the manufacturers everything they can. But I guess we'll probably have to clean up this Sunlu. But it's a nice comparison when you're working with stuff. But as I said, like the quality of material over the years, and really it's a very fast developing industry, the quality of material has just been so impeccable. Like I don't get meltdowns, I don't get faults. You know, this is all hairy because I literally left the filament out because this is my stress test for the material. This model is not the friendliest model to print. That's why I ended up kitting the newer version of it. But we needed a backlog of this image, so we decided to do one, right? And you can see there, that should have snapped. There it goes. So that's what happens is if you leave material out, it'll delaminate, and that's what just happened there. So again, this model is no bueno, so I'll have to run it again. But it's just like my way of stress testing product. So this had sat out for 4 months, and I'm very impressed with it. Because everybody always wants to give you guys the perfect picture of whatever a manufacturer does, but that's not my cup of tea. So that material, we have lots left of it, so we'll have to dry it and rerun it and see what it's like. This model is brutal for that, because the way the material, like the planes are designed on it. This is one of my older models. This is from like 4 years ago. But the material is still plenty hard, which is good. Seems to be separating. So maybe we'll do this one again. Should we do it again in this model, or should we do it in the split model? Because we can actually split this model up. It's not that big a deal. What do you guys think? This is like one of the most brutal test models I have. Because it's like the sports get all tied up between stuff. I think it's great. The other, another brutal one is the bow tie. When I do the bow tie tests, because the bow ties require supports, because they have huge overhangs, but they still have to be structurally sound to use them. It's such a brutal test. Because remember, when you're testing filament, no matter what filament you are testing, be ABS or whatever, um, PLA, PETG, whatever, right? Even TPU actually. You need to be able to test if it can support itself. So it has to. Every test model should incorporate supports in some way or another. because that'll give you the best sample of what you're doing, right? Man, this filament is impressive. Good job, Sunlu. I'm just so impressed. Hard filament too. So, oh, there it goes. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So it's shearing in the direction of travel, and it's because there's simply too much moisture in there. It can't bond very well. So we'll bake this stuff in a dryer, and we'll try it again. Although I'm tempted to give it an easier model to do, because this one, I know this one's hard, so I know one prints it. You can find this model. I did post it on the Discord if you want to try printing it yourself. The link to the Discord is down below. Remember, you can always leave a message in the chat as well if you're curious about projects I'm working on. You can always leave it in the message box down below. But this is like what we were trying to see if would happen. Because one of the things is people don't realize, like, oh, I want to know what happens when the material is got problems when it's hydrolocked or whatever. But I'm still really impressed. And then yeah, maybe we'll revisit this model just to do something nice for Sun Lu for sending this stuff over. We did a whole series of walls and stuff for them in miniature scale. They all came out really nice, but I think this is a good challenge for the material. Um, maybe this will end up being my new challenge model for the next little while. Although we've been prototyping with the other company, 3DFM. Sorry, 3D Max. 3D Max Filament. So that's also a nice example. That's what we like to do. A little bit of diversity on everything we do. See, it's going to split again. Yep, just along that line. It's a natural fault in the model, like it's a weakness in the model. So it's actually really hard for filaments to withstand that. Which is actually why in the newer version of this model, it's all the limbs are separated from the main body. Because the way this model works is it's not very easy for the filaments to last. Yeah, you can see here. Now, does it matter? Not really. You can either glue those limbs back on, you can print new limbs, or you can just leave it, and it'll be a battle damage model. See, that's the thing, right? A little bit of paint changes how all this stuff looks, right? So yeah, maybe that's what we'll do. We'll take a look at that. Yeah, one of my favorite things in all of this space, I'll be honest with you guys, is the challenge of printing. Making a model and getting that model to work, and then not only that, but learning from my mistakes in the model and making something even better, right? I would say that this boat we're working on is probably light years ahead of what this is, right? Because even this model, I remember we ended up doing a kit build of it because it was so hard to print just in a single piece. But I would say, let me cheat a little bit because you guys can't tell, right? Can I do that? I don't know, maybe. Right? All the angles are weird and whatever. Trim some stuff out, use a little bit of fill in there. You wouldn't even know. So we'll reprint this, but I think what I'll do is to give them a more fair chance, because I'm going to paint this, but to give them more of a fair chance is I will split that model. The gear version, the gear-eyed version of the Beholder, is already split. Um, and it's been printed multiple times in multiple brands, and each time it comes out nice. But I think we're going to take the blank eye, the blind one, and do that. I think that's an option. we have our prototypes running, so they'll be ready for next week. But I think next week we're moving away from this, because if this all fits the way I want it to, we're moving away from this, and we'll be doing a new model design, which I can't show you yet, but I have a picture of it. I know what I'm going to do with it, and we're going to start doing it. But this is just this ended up being just a little tugboat out of nowhere, and we just sort of made it work. Um, and that's the big thing that I always try to tell and impress upon you guys, right? Is that um, just make whatever you want. And if it's got some faults, that's the nice thing about 3D printing. The only thing that really costs you in 3D printing is the time. Filament is, I think we've got a bunch of, like, just so you guys know, I took the 3D Max filament and I made a bunch of stuff for the food bank too. And I made a bunch of miniatures, which I've shown on social media. They're the Shroomies. They're not Shroomies, sorry, they're the Invaders. Here's actually another set has to still be posted, but let me show you. So these are the Invaders, and that's all 3D Max filament. I think those came out really nice. Brand new set, right? And they'll be in the new source book. We did the Gearhead Gnarl and the Gnarl. Oh no, sorry, these were done. The Gnarls were done in Uzi filament by F3DM out of Turkey. So they came out really nice. So, and then you can find here over on Maker World, I did some Gridfinity dice boxes. One to fit your D20s from Magic the Gathering because they're bigger, or sorry, smaller, and one to fit your standard dice. So one is like straight up will fit all of your D20s for your life counters, poison counters, whatever you're doing. And then the other one will fit your traditional dice set. It wasn't fitting D12, so we had to make it bigger. And then, what else do I got? And then the Mimics, they were done in 3DFM out of Turkey. And then this is 3D Max filaments out of Florida with a little spaceship landing pad. Did I not post the UFO? No, I must have posted the UFO. I haven't even posted the UFO yet. Ooh, I'm behind, guys. So I'll post the UFO for you guys. So we did a little UFO. Um, and that, again, was done with 3D Max filaments. So as you can tell, we're always running. We're always running. Even when we're not, right? We might be down for a week, and then we're up processing again. This is pretty cool. This coat of arms. This is Seth Goulet's Stein he designed. And I'm making a mess over here. Sorry. All my minis are all in one spot. And we did this in Polymaker Luminescence. I know it all needs to be hit with a torch. It's just been so damp in the lab, right? But that came out really nice too. It needs its own spot on the wall. But that was done in Nicor Rainbow and Luminous Blue. So those are their glow-in-the-dark sets. Really good stuff, if you ask me. What else did we do? I'm just trying to find out what else we did. In the Invaders, yeah, and then this just goes back to stuff we hadn't been doing for a while. We haven't been printing a whole lot other than projects, right? And I guess a lot of my stuff needs to still be published. So if you ever catch me and you're like, oh, where's that model? Remind me, and I'll make sure to publish it. Yeah, that's so crazy I didn't post the flying saucer. But anyway, I just want to say thank you to you guys. Another wonderful show here on YouTube. I know we're super late, so I'm glad that you got to tune in when you did. Remember, the lives aren't that big a deal. Just remember, leave a comment, like, share where you can, and, let's show off all the cool things that I make, right? If you have any comments, questions, concerns, of course, down below, the Discord's down below. If you're looking for different filaments, there's different filaments. There's Everyone, Polymaker, and Sunlu, I believe, down below. If you're looking for my model listings, they're down below, Maker World and Thangs. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in. I know it's late. I know we're here on the Pacific time. But please be safe. Please take care of yourselves. I will see you guys Friday at noon on Twitch. If you guys want me to come over and do some more shows here on YouTube, make sure to leave a comment, share with your friends. Let's get those numbers up, and then we'll start doing more lives over here on YouTube. All right, everybody. I love you very much. Before I go, of course, remember, keep your chin up. You can't see the world if staring at your feet. 2, protect your neck. I don't want you to lose your head. And 3, remember, just build, build, build. You are loved and you matter. Thank you all for tuning in today. It's always a pleasure to come online and entertain for you. I hope you learned something today. If you have any questions, again, as always, I'm available on Twitter, here on YouTube, and of course on Twitch. All right, everybody. I'll see you Friday.